85 Jeep CJ7 for sale. 350 cubic inch fuel injected engine, SM465 transmission, Dana 300 twin stick transfer case with 4-to-1 gearing, Ford 9-inch axles front and rear with ARB air lockers. Tires are 35-inch BFGs. Notice tread depth. I'll come back around with a coin. These are like new, better than 90% tread life. Rims are allied 32 bolt. The only tire that has any damage is the spare. Here's the damage on the spare, just a little bit of chewing from engaging a sharp rock. It does go around about 1/4 the circumference of the tire. Tread depth is perfect, but consider the spare only for highway use. Other tires, also better than 90% tread life. No damage. Wheel weights are BB, 8 ounces per tire. You get a little bit of a cascading effect when you come to a complete stop, but really does a nice job of balancing the tires. Goes to the active or fast spot in the tire, settles it down better than any stick-on clamp or other internal clamp you might use. Notice with the bead locks you can't put an outside clip on, so you can only do the inside face. The BBs are a perfect answer to that. There's a peek at the 350. We'll pop the hood in just a second. 3/16" armor all around. This was actually flat steel that was formed by a welder for me on each corner. Recessed tail lights. Swing out tire carrier. There's a high lift jack mount front and rear. If you look, you'll notice that the spare tire rack is clockable. It's turned down now for a bigger tire, for a smaller tire and better visibility. You can actually pull that out and turn it over and get a lot more clearance with bigger tires. This Jeep carries up to 38. No clearance issues on a tire that big. Above that, I'm sure it would scrub. Lift is a leaf sprung under axle 4-inch super lift, not sagging. There's a 1-inch body lift to clear the transmission tunnel for that massive SM465. Again, axles are Ford 9-inch. Beefy steering stabilizer, steering box protection and brace. Winch is an HS9500i with in-cab controls. Notice it wires in here for an outside control if needed. In-cab view. There's the GPS included with the vehicle. Switches, levers, knobs and gauges. The voltage gauge does tend to hang a little. Fuel gauge does not work. It's a bad fuel sending unit. I have one to put in, but I don't want to pull the tank off to do that just yet. Here's the Tuffy console. Winch controls are here. In and out. Fuel pump switch, auxiliary external, off to minimize theft opportunities. In-tank factory Chevy fuel injection pump. Notice the mileage just below 118,000. That is accurate. That's not just mileage for the drivetrain, that's mileage for the frame. Competition quality roll cage. Hip bars that could be cut out if needed. Seat belt harnesses built in. X's and O's everywhere. Very sturdy. V in the top over the back. There's a fold and tumble seat available. This is a custom Jeep box. It was built in a 2-tier with a rail configuration for me. Fuel tank on the side. We got a 20-gallon stainless underneath. That can gets us to 26, so it makes this a serious expedition vehicle. Spare front axles there. In the toolbox is a spare rear drive shaft. Worn 1-ton hubs. I'll pop the hood and show you that. Alright, fuel injected Chevy 350. This is a 93 model TBI. Has approximately 82,000 miles on it. Custom dual battery tray for Optimas. Notice the control here for the belt-driven air compressor. That's a converted AC compressor. Here's a separate air intake to minimize complexity. It's not tied into the engine intake. This is a cold air intake, mounts right behind the headlight. Helps keep things a little cleaner, a little cooler. Belt configuration is all original equipment. You can walk into any Napa, tell them it's a 93 Chevy truck, and you're good to go. Here are the fuel injection controls. The 3 modules over to the side are a little headlight trick. Bypass the switch inside no longer controls the headlights per se. That was losing about 2 volts on these older Jeeps. They become triggers for these relays. So high beam on the left, low beam on the right. You always carry a spare relay. That spare relay is actually wired to bridge the two. So when the high beams are on, the low beams are on as well. You get a wider field of vision and nice bright light. On that note, headlights are non-stock. They are 55 watt low beams, 155 watt high beams. So no need for external roll cage or any other bar mounted light. Plenty of light with these things, and they don't get knocked off if you get damage. Hood is fiberglass. You'll see a repair over here. Kind of ugly from the inside. I did that just to test my fiberglass work skills. From the outside, looks fine, functions just fine. Dents and dings. There's a good one right there. A little rock damage. From that I learned a lesson. Drilled out the hinge pins. This is a quick disconnect. Under the dash, the only wiring is to the windshield wipers. That's got a 4-pin trailer connection on it. So flip the windshield forward, pull those pins, unplug a trailer connection, leave the windshield in the tow rig. It is streetable, not all that comfortable, but very streetable. There's another good dent here. I got tired of fixing body damage and just started labeling. So 21 Road, Grand Junction, Colorado. Dirty. I'm not going to wash it. If I were that interested in it, I'd keep it. But it is Rhino line throughout. It's got a good Moab dust covering. Spare tire carrier. There's a quick disconnect. Notice here, that is a small utility trailer axle stub. So pull the cotter pin, take the nut off, take the tire off obviously because it's heavy, and it swings off, and you leave it at home if you want a lighter rig. So the spare tire assembly back here is a couple hundred pounds. It's a good way to lighten the Jeep and make it more nimble, especially if you're not on an expedition outing. Forgot to point out earlier, high lift jack mount up front here. So if you've lightened the rear by taking the spare tire off, high lift jack goes to the front. Winch does clear it just fine, so no issues there. Funny looking guy here is a windjammer. A windy day or wet day, I roll that down, and because I've got the aluminum top here to keep the sun off my bald head, I just leave that in all the time, roll it down when I need it. That's about it. Thanks for looking. Let me know if you have any questions.